Namaskar and welcome to StudyIQ. I am your friend Rahul Saigaonker. The agenda for today's discussion is to understand a bill which has been passed by the Parliament in the ongoing monsoon session. You all know that the monsoon session is in progress. It began on July 20, 2023. It is going on in August as well. The tentative end date for this monsoon session is August 11, 2023. Going forward, we will also be discussing some of the other important bills and amendments which would be passed during monsoon session. But today's discussion is about one particular bill, Cinematograph Bill, which has been finalized by the Parliament. Although the headline reads Lok Sabha passes Cinematograph Bill, but it has also been finalized by Rajya Sabha on last day of July. Once it is assented by the President, Cinematograph Amendment Bill 2023 would turn into an act. So in this video lecture, we will understand Cinematograph Act 1952. Once we understand the original act, we will compare that with the changes. Without the original act, we wouldn't understand what are the changes that have been brought. We'll also understand why the changes are being brought now. At the end of the discussion, we'll also talk about a way forward or what to expect next. That would be the complete domain of our discussion today. So let us begin our interaction. But before that, there is a small notice for all the UPSC civil services aspirants. If you have missed out on the July train, July P2I batch, then StudyIQ is offering on-demand P2I Prelims to Interview initiative for August. It is beginning from 11th August. It is 8 a.m. batch. StudyIQ here would be hand-holding you through all the phases of your examination, prelims, mains, and interview. A comprehensive integrated program has been designed at a very affordable price. Just visit our website www.studyiq.com. You'll get all the details there. Do not forget to use my code RAHULLIVE to get maximum discount whenever you check out. All right, we'll see you in the class. Right, let's talk about Cinematograph Act 1952 first, then we'll talk about the changes. Of course, by now you understand that Cinematograph Act, it deals with cinema in India. Now we all think cinema is just for entertainment purpose. Cinema is just not entertainment. Of course, entertainment is one of the major part, but cinema, it has impact on entire society. Cinema educates. Cinema inspires people. Cinema is all about freedom of expression of creativity, right? Expressing that creativity. And that is why in 1952, the government, the Jawaharlal Nehru government, they passed Cinematograph Act 1952. What was the reason for this? To balance the freedom. See, first of all, I have a freedom of speech and expression to showcase my creativity, but that creativity should not have adverse impact on the society. Meaning, I have to balance freedom of expression of the makers and freedom of expression of the ultimate consumers of that cinema. So basically, to balance, Article 19 of the Constitution, Cinematograph Act, was brought. And under this act, a regulatory body was created. And that regulatory body is the Central Board of Film Certification. Now, infamously, you must know CBFC as Censor Board. CBFC comes under the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. The members are appointed directly by the central government. Now, what is the job of the CBFC? The job of the CBFC is to review the cinema. For instance, see, if I am the director, I am creating a movie. What I have to do is I have to first get a certification from this particular board before releasing the movie. Once I get the certificate, only then I can release or I can then market the movie. So I first show the movie to these members of CBFC. They would be examining it and then they would be giving certification. Certification means this movie is fit for what kind of viewership. All right. So initially in 1952, there were two certificates which were available. Certification of U means universal, anybody can watch it. Family friendly movies, anybody can watch it. You can directly go and watch it in the theater. And there was another certification, adult public exhibition only for adults, that means 18 plus. In 1982, the government added two more categories. One is UA. UA means unrestricted public exhibition with parental guidance for children under the age of 12. So limit here was 12. Apart from that, another category was added in 1982, S. This was restricted exhibition only for specialists. Some sort of some sort of cinemas or some sort of inputs which can only be seen by experts, say doctors, surgeons, scientists, researchers, etc., something like that. So these 4 kind of certification is given by Central Board of Film Certification, although the mandate is simply to provide certificate. But I already told you, infamously, you must know this as censor board, because they, if they find something objectionable, if they find that movie has some objectionable scene, right, some sexually explicit scene, they would tell it to cut. So that's why many people call it censor board as well. All right. Now, see, if I am the director, I create a movie, I ask for a certification. Now, if this particular board, after examining it, it gives a certificate to me, and if I do not like that certificate, and if I say that I should have got a universal certificate, but you have given an adult certificate for that, and if it is adult certificate, then I would be missing out on a large chunk of population which could have been coming to theater, which could have been coming to cinemas and watching that. So if I have any grievance with the CBFC rating, then I can appeal that. There is a mechanism for an appellate body as well. In the act itself, in the original act itself, Film Certification Appellate Tribunal has been created, and this is a quasi-judicial body, again under the Ministry of I&B. If both CBFC and FCAT, they stick with the certification or they reject the movie, then I would have only avenue of the courts. All right. Now, you must have seen so many movies getting into controversies. I remember some of the movies on the back of my mind. One of the instances I read, or I have heard it from my parents as well. During 1970s, apparently there was a movie called Andhi. Right? Andhi was banned in 1975. Andhi was apparently connected to life of Indira Gandhi. Right? Another movie, a very funny movie. I've seen that movie also. Kissa Kursi Ka. Kissa Kursi Ka was banned during emergency again. Apart from that, there have been so many movies. There was one movie on Pulandevi. What was the name? Bandit Queen. Bandit Queen was banned. One movie on the topic of lesbianism. Fire was also banned. Water was banned. Right? Unfreedom was banned very recently. So many movies were banned. So many of the English movies, they do not get certification in India. Right? I'm not talking about those English movies, but even in Hindi movies, many were banned. Some were banned by CBFC, and under the act itself, there is a section. There is a section 5A, and this section, even after CBFC certification is given, the central government can revoke that certificate and ban the movie. Please understand this. This was the original act. I hope that you already get some of the problems with original act, right? And in the original act, if I get a certificate, that certificate would be valid only for 10 years. All right. This is the original stance. Now you do understand there is a need of some change. Now, what are the changes that were expected or that were needed? Because see, the Cinematograph Act came in 1952. In 1980s, some other categories were added, but we are right now living in 21st century. And you must have seen CBFC and its thought process also changed. Earlier, even if there was a kissing scene in a movie, that would be censored, but today that has become very normal, right? So these changes have to be incorporated, or these changes have to be in line with our time. So first of all, Indian film industry itself has grown. The nature of cinemas has grown. Many things have come online. There are OTT platforms today, right? Although this does not pertain specifically to OTT platform, but nonetheless, you need to understand that things have changed. Our industry has become very huge. Our industry has globalized. I can talk about RRR getting Oscar award, right? The song itself, the song. Apart from that, we are living in the age of information and communications technology revolution. A movie, before even entering the cinema or the theaters, it can be leaked online. There is a huge issue of piracy of movies, which leads to a loss of industry. For example, I told you, I make a movie. I am expressing my creativity. I put in crores of money and I create a movie. And I want people to go to theaters and watch so that I get my money back or I make profit as well. The distributors can also make profits. But what is happening? Because of this online domain, these movies are released even before they come into theater. You see the online copy, right? You see those movies on Telegram. So piracy has become very rampant. And because of these reasons, this bill was introduced and it was passed, right? Although its introduction was before, it was introduced in Rajya Sabha July 20. Before that, it was with the committee as well. But its introduction was due to this reason. The government also said that we have brought the Cinematograph Amendment Bill mainly to fight piracy and to further the film industry in India. Piracy has become a big menace. According to the government, piracy leads to a loss of about 20,000 crores to the film industry. And to stop this, the changes have been brought. So let's try to understand what are the changes that have been brought. I hope that you remember the original act. Now, what are the changes? The first change, of course, is that piracy would be stopped, or I need to bring some sort of rules and regulations to stop piracy, to end piracy. Now, what happens? See, people go to watch a movie in theater. What they do, they take a camcorder or they take a high end recorder with them. They record the entire movie and put it online. That's a pirated version. That's a pirated copy. Or before, they used to burn it on a CD or somewhere and then sell it. Now you can directly download them from torrent, etc. Right? They put it online and they sell it there also. So this particular bill, it brings provision to stop that piracy. Unauthorized recording, unauthorized copying, or online transmission or exhibition of a pirated copy now would lead to even imprisonment. The new changes in the Cinematograph Bill, they say that if anybody is indulging in such piracy based activities, then they would be imprisoned for 3 months to 3 years. Imprisonment can be up to 3 years, or there can be a fine of up to 3 lakh rupees. Also, it can go up to 5% of the audited production cost of that particular movie. It would be crores. Already, it would be going into crores. Although there have been some exceptions. For instance, say right now I'm making a video. I am making a video on one particular movie and I want to show you a small clip of that movie. That means I am discussing something connected to current affairs. So reporting of current affairs is very fine. If I am recording it for my own private or personal use, that is also very fine. But you are not supposed to sell it, transmit it, right? That is not for transmission. And if you are reviewing or critiquing that particular work, that is also very fine. So there have been some exceptions, few exceptions that have been provided here. Apart from this provision to check piracy, there is one more provision of certification, enhancement of certification. I told you before, we had universal certification, we had adult certification for 18 plus, we also had one S special certification for, I told you, for some sections like the doctors, surgeons, researchers, etc. Now the fourth category, UA, universal with some sort of supervision, parental guidance. It was earlier with a limit of 12 years, correct? 12 years. Any for children below 12 years, there was supervision. Now this category 12 has now been divided into 3: 7 plus years, 13 plus years, 16 plus years. Now why these changes? These changes are in line with the international norms. If you look at the international film industry, these are the similar kind of norms. You must have seen it even if you watch in cinemas, or even if you watch on OTT platforms. Whatever movies come on the OTT platform, there also you will see that certification. All right, so we have brought these age based markers. Please remember, these are not strict, strict provisions. Means they have to be through the parents or the guardian's consent. The parent or the guardian, they must be aware that their children are watching this. All right, that's why these 3 categories have been created: 7, 13 and 16. Apart from this, there is one more change. I told you, even if CBFC gives a certificate, even if the tribunal says it's fine, the government had the power to revoke it. Now this was challenged before itself in the Karnataka High Court in the KM Shankarappa case. In the KM Shankarappa versus Union of India case, it was already upheld that the government, it should not have this revising power. Once CBFC decides, the Central Board for Film Certification, it decides, that is it. That should be autonomous. There would be no government intervention. And now the section 5A, it has been diluted. The government, it does not have any revising powers. It does not have any power to revoke or ban that particular movie. Although there is some exception, meaning the government now can only ask that the certificate be re-examined once. That power is still with the government, but the central government do not have the power to ban the movie. Once CBFC certificate is gone, It's gone. The government cannot ban, but it can ask for re-examination for sure. This is the change. Apart from this, some other changes have come. Earlier, the certificate was valid for 10 years. Now, that certificate would be valid in perpetuity. Apart from that, there is also another provision. Say, for instance, I create a movie and I apply for certification, and that movie has got A rating, adult rating. And now I want to sell that movie's TV rights. I want that movie to come on, say, Set Max, where only Suryavansham comes. Jokes apart, right? So I want that movie to come on television. Then what? Then this adult rating can be changed by appropriate cutting of scenes from that particular movie, and then television rights can be given. So the exhibition category of films can be changed after editing it. Apart from this, earlier the Cinematograph Act, it was only applicable to India except for Jammu Kashmir, right? That was before 2019, and those wordings have been changed. Omission that specifically it was not applied to Jammu Kashmir, that has been removed. It now applies all over India, right? So these are the changes that have been brought by Cinematograph Bill 2023. All right. Now let's see what exactly happens. Especially, we will be keeping an eye on this particular provision. This is very important because it's very interesting. I want to see it personally, how the government is going to check this particular thing. Will this be really effective? Because you must have seen these things. You must have seen such pirated movies as well. Now, how the government is going to implement this, we'll keep a keen eye on this. But let's end our discussion with what next? What next? Or what are the lacunae still in the amendment? One of the issues is revisionary power, or I would say not revisionary exactly, the re-examination power that is available with the government. Many people have criticized this still. Why? Very simple. Say, imagine I told you I make a movie, I apply for certification. CBFC has given me a certification, but the government says, please re-examine his certificate again. So what do I have to do? I have to simply wait. I have to wait for CBFC. Again, they will be re-examined. What time would they take? It will delay my planning. I want to release it on August 15 because people will come and watch the movie. But now re-examination means that the entire project would be delayed. It would add to the expenses, the overhead costs. So that is one of the issues which the filmmakers highlight. Apart from that, some other exceptions can be provided. Exceptions can be made, especially where there is some sort of fair use. If I want to use the clips from the movie for fair use or some sort of derivative works, such things can be allowed. Some other exceptions can be added so that creative development, creative freedom would be there with others as well. Again, caution, with some caution. Apart from that, again, a film rejected by CBFC, I have written accepted by OTT, but I would say a film rejected by CBFC directly released online. Now, what would you do? That's one clause still left out, because the government again has to pass orders. Government has the powers to pass an order to reject that thing, or ask the particular platform, or ask the entire service providers, or say different platforms, different websites which host such movies, to delete them. But again, this is one loophole which exists. Or what we can say is that the bill, I would say, particularly lacks with respect to this, the new technological and innovation based tools to stop piracy. Now imagine the movie is recorded and it is released online from somewhere else, not from India but somewhere else. What would we do? All right, there are so many torrent based tools, we have to keep on banning them. So the government has to come up with some sort of a technological policy, or invest in R&D connected to ending piracy of these movies. That would be a logical step going forward. All right, but let's wait and watch how these changes will impact. They would have a positive effect for sure, but some fears have been highlighted by the filmmakers. We'll see how things pan out. But these are the changes that have been brought in the Cinematograph Amendment Bill 2023, soon to become Act, once assented by the President. All right, that is it in this particular discussion. Thank you for watching this video, and if you like this video, you can always reach out to me on this particular ID @Rahul Sai 222. In fact, this discussion about the bills is coming up because of one of the requests that I received from aspirant on IG itself. Even you can message me and suggest some topics or suggest some video that you want. I'll try to make on those as well. Thank you again. Jai Hind.